the Howard County Arts Council's presentation of the IAM Creativity Grant guidelines and application overview. This program is a new grant that is funded through the Maryland Council for the Arts and is in its inaugural year this funding cycle. My name is Michelle Grazio. I am the grants administrator for the IAM Creativity Grant, and tonight we are also joined by Colleen West, who is the executive director, and Dana Whipke, who is the grants and program specialist at the Howard County Arts Council. One thing to note before I begin, we are recording this session and the questions afterwards, so just please be aware of that. So tonight I will be discussing the overview and goals of the IAM Creativity Program and the application process for individual artists interested in applying for this grant. I will go through the full presentation and leave time for questions at the end, so please hold your questions until that time. So to start, I wanted to speak broadly about the goals of the program. The IAM Creativity Grant has 5 established goals that the program strives to achieve, listed here. The first is to recognize the role of individual artists in Howard County. Second, to support the creative work of individual artists. Third goal is to strengthen and foster diversity, excellence, and vitality in the Howard County arts community. Fourth is to expand public understanding of the impact that individual artists have on our local communities and economies. And finally, to acknowledge the time and resources individual artists invest in their art form in pursuit of excellence. These goals will be the goals that are used to guide our panelists and board members when making funding decisions for this program. Over a 4-year period, the IAM Creativity Program will provide awards in seven different artistic disciplines, accepting applications for 2 disciplines each year. For this first funding cycle, the 2 disciplines that have been selected are dance and visual arts, which we will define in subsequent slides. For each discipline, there will be 1 $5,000 award and 3 $1,000 awards distributed. These funds will be unrestricted, meaning that they are used in support of the artistic practice in meaningful ways that can be defined by the individual artist, ranging from developing new ideas to completing an ongoing project or beginning a new one. And the award period is July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. At the end of the award period, the artists who receive the awards will be asked to complete an impact statement that will define how the funds were used and the effect the award has had on the artist and their work. So to define what the dance discipline encompasses, the overall definition states that the dance art form is to include, but is not limited to, performing art forms consistent with movement, either improvised or choreographed. You will see below a list of genres of dance that will be included in the dance discipline definition. However, we acknowledge that the world of dance is large, and if the work that you do is not outlined in this list, please know that it's not an exhaustive list, and if you have any questions about whether your work is considered under the dance discipline, please reach out to me. So to quickly run through the genres that we have listed here, modern, ballet, hip hop, Latin, choreography, and interdisciplinary and experimental work, with dance being the central component. Similarly, the visual arts discipline is defined as original artwork made through materials or experimental techniques and processes. This includes interdisciplinary and time-based experimental art forms with 2- or 3-dimensional visual art forms as the central expressive component. The list of genres are included here and is long, but again, not exhaustive. So if you have questions about if your work is considered a visual art discipline, please reach out to me. I'm not going to read the whole list for you now, but know that the visual arts category is large, and so we tried to be as inclusive as possible. So for this program, we do have eligibility requirements that each individual artist needs to meet in order to be considered for funding. They are listed here, and please note that you must meet all 5 requirements. The first being residence. You must reside in Howard County 1 year prior to the beginning of the grant period, which is July 1st, 2024. So to be clear, you must reside in Howard County beginning July 1st, 2023 in order to meet this requirement. Additionally, you must reside in Howard County for the duration of the grant period. Please note that the award will be made in 2 payments. So if you are selected for an award, the applicant must be a current resident of Howard County at the beginning of the funding period and maintain residence during the entire period, or the remaining portion of the award will be forfeited. The second is work samples. So work samples that will be submitted for consideration all must have been created within 5 years of the grant cycle, which begins again July 1st, 2024. Meaning all work samples need to have been created from July 1st, 2019 through to now. And please note all work samples need to be completed works. The third is the artist applying for funding must be the primary creative force behind each work sample being submitted. Please note if a work sample includes work performed or created by an ensemble or group, the applicant must be the featured artist for at least 50% of the time. Fourth is the individual must provide proof of residence in Howard County for a minimum of 12 consecutive months prior to the application deadline, which is March 14th, 2024. Acceptable forms of proof of residence include government issued IDs, residential homeowner or renter's insurance, or a utility bill with names and addresses to establish proof of residence for the past 12 months. And finally, the applicant must be at least 18 years of age and not enrolled in a high school or undergraduate, graduate, or certificate program in an arts discipline. Applicants will not be accepted before a degree or certification in any such program has been awarded. To go a little further, to list the ineligible applicants include the Howard County Arts Council board and staff and their spouses and immediate relatives, organizations, collectives, sole proprietorships, or LLCs, or any other entity applying with an EIN number. Applicants seeking project-based funding, because again, this grant is unrestricted, and applicants who use or require a fiscal sponsorship. Additionally, any late or incomplete applications or applications that don't meet the instructions and guidelines will be deemed ineligible for review. So speaking more specifically about the application itself, the application for both dance and visual arts are live and can be found on the HCAC website. All fields in the application are required to be filled out, and additionally, there are some required things to be uploaded to the application. So in terms of the dance application, the artist must upload a resume and the proof of residency documents that we mentioned earlier. Additionally, work samples for the dance application can include up to 10 files or links to online videos totaling 10 minutes of work. Again, all work samples must be created within the past 5 years, and any of the samples that are videos and are excerpts of a larger work, please include the exact cue instructions. So more specifically about work samples, the acceptable file formats to upload work samples for the dance application include MOV, WMV, AVI, MPG, and MP4 files. Again, all the work samples cannot exceed 10 minutes of work total. And we ask that you label each work sample in a specific way that is listed here on the slide. But to spell it out, It is the first name initial underscore last name initial underscore work sample one underscore the title of the work, and so on for each upload. Along with the work samples, we ask that you include a corresponding work sample list. So please create one PDF document listing each work sample being submitted, referring to it by the given title, and include cue points, year of completion of the work, choreographer's name, if applicable, the duration of the full work, and names of any other principal dancers that appear other than yourself, and any information on the musical score. Along with that required information, you can also include a brief 5-sentence description of the work for additional context. And just a quick note for that, if the applicants are choreographers, please indicate if the work was done collaboratively. Moving on to the visual art application, the same information is needed to be included in the visual art application. So please complete all the required fields and upload a resume and a proof of residency document. As for the visual art work samples, you can submit up to 20 images, or if the work that you do is kinetic, then one sample image may be substituted for a 30-second video clip. Again, a reminder that all work samples should be created within the last 5 years. So for the visual art work samples, the acceptable file format is an MPEG, a JPEG, with each work sample being a separate JPEG, not to exceed 72 dpi and sized no larger than 1200 pixels on the longest dimension of the image. Same labeling instructions apply. We ask that you label each work sample as listed here. And along with each work sample, we ask that you upload a work sample list, which is a one file PDF listing each work sample being submitted, referring to them each by the name they were given, and providing the following details for each work. Please include a title, the medium of the work, dimensions, and the date the work was completed. And you may also include a brief 5-sentence description of each sample. So after the application deadline, which again is March 14th, a panel of 3 experts in the field will convene to review all eligible applications. For the dance panel, we have Alan Jing, who is a dancer, choreographer, and teacher based in Towson. We have Cheryl Goodman, who is the founder and director of Dance Baltimore, Inc., and Nicole Martinell, who is the founder and artistic director of Deep Vision Dance Company, as well as an adjunct professor at Towson University. For the visual arts panel, we have Frank McCauley, who is the gallery's director and curator of Viz Arts in Rockville, Maryland. Sheena Morrison, who is the Baltimore Arts Education Initiatives Manager at Arts Every Day, and Schroeder Cherry, who is a visual artist and puppeteer from DC. All the panelists for both disciplines will have bios posted on our website soon if you wish to go and find out more about them. So to give you a brief overview of what criteria our panelists will be using to review each application, listed here are the 4 categories that each artist's work will be judged, totaling up to a possible score of 100 points. The first category is concept, which can be worth up to 30 points, and we'll be judging if the application and work samples demonstrates creative and original theories, ideas, interpretations, and/or perceptions. The second is cohesion, which can be worth up to 30 points as well, judging if the application and samples demonstrates a clear, cohesive body of work. Third is judging if the artist has demonstrated command of the form and technical abilities within the discipline and can be worth up to 20 points. And finally, impact, worth up to 20 points, and judging if the applicant demonstrates work that has sustained resonance, impact, or value within the Howard County arts ecosystem. Here is the timeline. It details some important dates to note. The first is Thursday, March 14th at 11:59 p.m. to be exact. The application deadline for both dance and visual arts are due. After that, the staff will review the applications during the month of April to check for eligibility. Okay, so after the deadline, the staff will review each application to check for its eligibility in April. In May, both panels will convene to review the applications and make a recommendation to the board for funding. Also in May, the Committee on Grants within the Howard County Arts Council Board will meet to review the panelists' work and finalize recommendations, which will then be presented to the full board in June 2024, and they will vote to approve the funding. After which all artists will be notified and the grant cycle will begin July 1st, 2024. So that brings me to the end of the official presentation. My email is listed here. If you have any questions that you think of after this, please contact me. Otherwise, I'd like to open it up to any specific questions that the group has here.
Is this slideshow, are you going to email it, or can you send us a link to the slideshow with all the information?
Sure. Yeah, it's going to be posted on our website. But if
okay.
you would like it specifically emailed to you as well, I'm happy to do that.
No, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, Michelle. I
Hi.
appreciate the clarity with the guidelines and how it's going to be judged. So thank you for that, because that's not always obvious in many other applications, and that helps. I have a question. Can we make an application for both categories, or if or am I required to only choose one category? And if I am inside one category and I work in more than one discipline, how many applications can I put in? Theoretically.
Okay, so the first question is, can you apply for both the dance and visual arts disciplines in the same funding cycle, right?
Correct. That's the first question.
I believe the answer is no. Is that correct, Colleen?
Yes, the answer is no. In any given grant cycle, you can only apply for one application.
And then the second question was, can you apply?
One discipline, yep.
Okay, and then the second question was, can you apply under two different mediums in the same discipline?
No.
Correct.
Again, you should choose the work that you most represents your practice the strongest. If you are a mixed media artist or an artist who does use different disciplines, you can show that's your body of work for the last 5 years. But again, they're looking for cohesion. If you looked at the criteria, you might want to consider the criteria before doing that.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, I just wanted to confirm, is there an application fee?
No, there is not.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, like I said, this is my email here. So if there are any questions that come up after this call, please reach out to me. one last call for questions, but I think that. Okay, I think that that's it. Thank you very much for joining us tonight and have a great rest of your night.
I'm sorry, I had a question.
Oh, okay, sure.
Once we make a submission, is that final? Like if I had want to make a change to it as far as like a visual art?
Yeah, once you submit the work, it is, unless we reach out to you for clarification, you can't make any adjustments.
Thank you.
Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, you can wait till the last minute and submit your best work then.
Okay.
Fatima, do I see your hand up?
Yes, hi. I do have a quick question. So is it more likely that more established artist is more likely to get the grant as opposed to more so of an emerging artist? I know you mentioned giving samples of your body of work over the span of 5 years. Is it more likely that an established artist would get the grant, or is it also for up and coming artists as well? Not necessarily hobby, but more novice.
Right. I think it's going to be based on the strength of your work. The reviewers are not going to see your resume. They're only going to be viewing the work that you have. It's going to be an anonymous review, so they will not be looking at names. They will not be looking at resumes.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay, last call. Okay, so I think that that wraps it up for tonight. Thank you very much. And again, please reach out to me if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, everybody.